every time you hear about Africa, a shackles and chains. Tell me why you try to corrupt the little Rasta man brain. And if you tell the youth them say Africa exists long before the middle passage. Me come to tell you get a youth them for wise because Babylon a brainwash the masses a fire. The dirty Babylon you will go get bruised.
3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome everyone. We are back on Morphcast, and it's a beautiful day for me and beautiful night for Samson. Broadcasting here from an undisclosed location. So, Samson, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day to be alive. Let me say briefly that in my back here is one of
very beautiful black woman.
Our sisters, one of our queens, and behind her is one of
the audience was thinking that you hated women at some point.
No, I just want to make sure that it's clear that I love women. You know, I love everybody, more specifically women, because that is the drive that has been put into me by the Most High. So, you know, it is what it is. And behind her is our seed. It's a foundation. You know, I consider it one of my greater projects, which is a nonprofit for basically the betterment of our peoples. And yeah, we can leave it at that for now.
Okay. Yes. Please give me 1 second. Just 1 second.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Just a small technical issue.
What happened there?
Okay, never mind. All right. So, Mr. Samson, you were telling us about our seed, which is your foundation. What does the foundation do? What is its goal? What is its aim?
Well, when I say our seed, I'm really it can be an entendre to mean like, you know, agriculture or, you know, our children, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So basically my original idea was to have an agricultural foundation in Malawi, Africa. You know what I mean? As far as helping in the feeding of people and also giving work to my peoples, and also expand from there to more so I don't know, as far as maybe scholarship programs or fundraising programs or any other community programs that would be of benefit to the youth.
Gotcha.
And all those types of areas. Yeah.
Gotcha. That, I mean, that's a very interesting project, and I hope that it comes to fruition. Today we're going to delve into your life a little bit, if you allow it, because I think it's going to help us, not to a part of your life, to a portion of your life. It's going to help us explore different topics that might be useful to our audience, not only Black men this time, but Black society in general. So, like everyone know, you are from Malawi. You know, we have known each other for a while, and one of the things that I know about you is, unfortunately, you had to deal with the judicial system here in the USA, and that resulted in you that resulted to your freedom being taken away.
Momentarily, for sure. Yes.
Yep. My first question is, I mean, you don't have to go into the details, because I don't know, you know, if certain of the things are still must still be, you know, if you can still be tried for something. But like, what was the context of you ending up there? If you don't want to answer, if you don't want to answer, that's totally fine. We can move on.
Well, I'll tell you, it's I would just say it's traffic.
Okay.
Traffic violations basically
Got
was
you.
the reason why I ended up getting incarcerated. Well, not incarcerated, but
Mm.
interacting with the prison industrial complex. And
Okay. Mm.
it's not really something that's unique to me. And, as you know,
Yeah.
in the West, in this place, uh, just a slight bit of any bit of any hint of negligence, anybody
Hmm.
can end up in that system.
Yes.
A lot of it, happened because, yeah, there was a little bit of negligence and ignorance on my part, in as far as the environment I'm in and how to conduct myself
Hmm.
in such environments,
I see.
so to speak.
So, okay, without going to the details of, but when you were taken into custody, what were you feeling at that point?
I would have to say, when it first started, I was kind of young. Uh, so I didn't feel any particular way about it.
Hmm.
But when I started to see the complexion of the situation through my adult eyes, I started to kind of like understand more, how this country perceives minorities, basically. So if I
Mm.
had to put a feeling to it, I would say, um, I felt like I wasn't fully informed,
Okay.
you know, by by the people who were my sponsors in this place, as to what I would
Okay.
have to be dealing with.
I
Yeah.
see.
And
So
I don't
you
think
mhm.
they truly fully know anyways, but
Okay.
what it is.
So you felt like you were not prepared for, you didn't have enough data or enough understanding of how the system work in general, and especially for people that look like you, like us.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
That's that's the gist of it.
Okay. Um. So okay, now you are. I'm guessing you are handcuffed, taken to jail. I'm guessing it was the first time you were going there. What I mean, how was the first night or the first day?
The first night I was drunk, so I didn't care. But when
Okay.
um when I came to being, to a realization, I was like, man,
Mm-hmm.
this is not a fun place to be. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
captivity, pretty much. That's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much what it is. It's captivity. So it's and being an African person, I really like felt disappointed in myself. Like, damn, this is not
Ah, I
supposed to
see.
be happening to me.
I see.
Uh,
I
yeah,
see.
that was the major feeling, like disappointment in myself.
Depending yourself. Okay. And when you were in there, did you try to? Did you try to reach out to family? What was the support system that you had outside while in there?
Hmm. I had the first time you're talking about the first, because listen, I've got like
Mm.
I've gone back and forth with these people, and it was never been like I've never really been criminally charged to be sentenced to prison. There are two different things. There's pre-trial, and then there's
Okay.
actually being sentenced to
Okay.
serve time. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I've never really
Mm.
been sentenced to serve time. I've always been there just for pre-trial. You know
Okay.
what I mean? So initially, and it's always been for traffic offenses. Drinking and
Okay.
driving,
Ah.
or yeah, drinking and driving, or stuff like that. So the first couple of times, I was able to bail out, and
Mm-hmm.
I think the most exigent one is the final time I was there, which happened in 2020,
Okay.
2022. I
Mm-hmm.
was there for again a traffic violation, and this time what ended up happening is I was placed. I was treated unfairly because I didn't want to interact with a medical section of the prison system, which is a major part now that I realize and actually look at it. So what ended up happening is I was put in maximum security because I did not want to take the TB test or take the COVID vaccine or the COVID whatsoever COVID arrangements that they had in there. So, but the thing is, when you go in maximum security, you're not allowed phone calls or to communicate with anyone outside.
I see.
Yeah, so
I see.
that's the thing there. So it ended up being that I had to be there for 90 days without being able to communicate with the outside world until I was able to do those things. And I guess I just held my ground on that one because of certain personal things that I had undergone over time, which I can explain more, in maybe later times. But right now, it's still like something that's a sensitive topic.
Okay. So when you're in there, you're by yourself, maximum security prison. Were you with the general population, or were you in solitary, or a mix of both? And how did you deal with the fact of being alone? Because I knew you to be somebody who was very social.
Well, I'm very adaptable, and I also put it in short. I know myself. I know who I am. So it's really easy for me to deal with any type of situation that comes along because I always have that to fall back on. In as far as identity goes. So what maximum security is, they call it the hole. You know what I mean? Basically. So what happens there is it's a jail within the jail. You're allowed 24. You're confined to a cell 23 hours a day and out for 1 hour. And I mean, those are the rules, but technically speaking, I was only allowed for like maybe an hour every 2-3 days. So I was in the cell most of the time.
Okay. And the cell is dark, or you have some light?
There's lighting there, but it's it's all metal furniture and nothing.
I see. And when you were in general population, was it like
I wasn't in general population.
You were never in general population, just
I was never allowed to interact with anyone.
Okay.
Because because I'm in maximum security.
Okay. Would you say that is torture? Or that was torture?
It's cruel and unusual punishment for sure.
Yeah. Okay. And how did you pass the time?
I was planning stuff like our seed, and a lot of different ideas were born there. And also I just really went to my inner place. Again, like I told you, there's a place within us all that is beyond comprehension and is as stable as anything can ever be. So if you know how to tap into that place, you can really survive anything.
Very cool. Very cool. So for young men that are watching us today, what's the advice that you would give them not to find themselves caught up in the judicial system? I mean, we all know the different traps and how easy it is to get caught up in this society for people that have or you
right.
Or appearance.
Well, they're not locking up 7-year-olds, so by the time it gets to an older age, the damage has already been done, right? So what it is you have to find a great male role model. You know what I mean? For, as a young person, so they can tell you the traps that are set, because they're all traps. The drugs, the drinking, the females, all these different types of things that are set for the black man. You know what I mean? And it's on us to teach the younger guys how to avoid those traps, Even a
So,
rat knows when it's seen a trap once, not how
yeah.
to avoid that trap. So we have to
Hmm.
be intelligent enough to be able to do that.
Okay.
Hey, bro, give me a second.
Hmm.
Give me a second for 5 minutes. Maybe you can talk a little bit about how you feel about the prison industrial complex and as far as how it affects the Black community. And I should be right back. Okay, just give me a
All right.
second.
All right. So we're taking a short break. We'll be right back with Samson. But in the meantime, I I think that we as black men, we have to. But first of all, I've never been in jail, but I dealt with the police. I've been handcuffed at least once in my life. It is not a prison sensation. One thing that I would say is we have to outsmart the system. We have to understand how it works and we have to understand that compared to everybody else, we have to be near perfect because the slightest mistake can be the change of our lives and the change of the lives of the people that we love. And every time that we step outside, we have to understand that we are an endangered species, right? So we have to act accordingly. So to me, personally, I do not drink. So that means that I do not smoke. I mean, smoke drug or take any kind of drugs. And that one advantage of that is my mind is not clouded most of the time. If it is clouded, it might be clouded. I mean, like every human being by anger and things like that, but it's not clouded by any substance. Okay. So that's the first thing. I think the second thing, to keep ourselves as black men out of these different traps, and out of trouble, is to have purpose, meaning that to have a direction. Because when you have a direction, when you have a purpose, your choices are very clear. You know exactly what you have to do and what you don't have the time to do or you should not do. So now, as far as my thought on the prison system, I think one of the things about America is a great country, but one of the things that is a little bit deplorable is that something like incarceration has been privatized. In most other countries, is managed by the government, but here we have private prison. So there's an incentive to arrest people for profit, right? So most prison, and since they are private, their incentive is that they are filled, because if they are not filled, they cease to exist. And a lot of those private prisons are in small town America. So they feed an economy, right? So, but if as people, we do not give them the opportunity to arrest us, that system will eventually die, basically. Or it would kill itself, or will have to be replaced by something else. Or either the laws are going to become ridiculous. So that is what I think of it. I think that the prison system in America should not be privatized. It should be, how can I say? It should be public. That's one thing. And I think that we should have better training for police officers, because some people go into policing, from the little that I know of today, because of a check, not because they want to serve and they want to protect, right? And I think that's a problem. And I think if you do that job, you should understand that it's a risky job, and you should have the type of attitude, almost like a soldier, basically, meaning that you know that you can, there are risks that come with the job, because a lot of the the incidents that have happened with cops shooting unarmed black men were caused by fear. Fear of not getting home, fear of the other person, or ignorance. So my thing is, if you're taking a job like this, you should be strong enough mentally, of course, physically, to be able to handle the pressures of that job. If you are not meant for that job, do not take it. Because too many people, I think, that are unfit for the job are on the force. And I think they're not unfit because they lack some kind of skills. I just don't think they are made for that job. And also, I think, like I mentioned before, training is one of the biggest issue. Samson is back. Samson, when you left, I was basically giving my take on the American prison system. The two important points for me is that compared to a lot of other countries, America has a privatized prison system, meaning that corporation, they're actually private prison. So there's an incentive to arrest people and to have them fill those beds, and which is not normal, right? So that is the first point. The second point is, I think, so that should stop, in my opinion, right? The second point is, so the government should take back full control of that, because if the government take full control back of that, it belongs to the people. But if it's privatized, it belongs to private corporations, that where the incentive is profits, right? The second thing is, I think one of the things that should be changed in the private system in America specifically is we need good training of police officers, because there have been too many accidents of people that have panicked, that did not that use a gun instead of their tasers, things of that nature. And I think that they should vet the people that come for the job, because I think too many people are on the job that are not fit for the job, meaning that they don't have the required attitude. Because to be a police officer, I think you have to be somebody who's courageous, somebody that truly wants to serve, somebody that truly wants to help their community. And I think that they should require that police officer live in the community that they police.
Because that's what I was going to say. That's very important.
Because when you do that, you create relationship with the people around you. And I think that the police officer that live in this different neighborhood should look like the people that predominantly in that neighborhood, right? So that they can then, people can easily identify with them culturally and all of these things. So I think that that will also reduce the misunderstanding. That will also allow people to trust the police more, because it's easier to, when you know that the cop is living, a couple of blocks down the road, right? And if he sees your son knows him or your daughter knows him, and they know that if they mess up, the police officer is gonna tell you. And the police officer, when they see them committing a crime or a mistake that maybe teenagers might make, they will not easily go to force immediately, because there's a relationship with the community. You see what I mean? So I think that doing those things might help avoid some of the problems that we have right now. So as far as abuse of force by the police, and from the community, mistrust of the police by the community, right? So that those are some of the things that we can do to alleviate that. That's basically what I was talking about. Enough of, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say enough of my rambling. Since you're back, I was going to ask you more questions, but I'm going to let you. I wanted to get your thought on some of the things that are spewed in my soliloquy.
Well, feel free to interject at certain points of this, but it was basically like they say you don't know your country until you go to its jail.
Yeah.
Or its military.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been to both. And what I realized is that's just a place to make money off of minorities.
The military and the prison system?
It's the same exact people I saw in the military, the same, dispersion of people I saw in the prison industrial complex, in the jails.
Interesting.
So, yeah. And also there's a heavy footprint of the medical, the big pharma in both, because specifically more so in the prison, because almost like all the prisoners were on some kind of medication, and even some of the correctional officers, most of them. So there's also that going on. But basically, what you have is, in that scenario, is you have your house niggers and your field niggers, pretty much. So you have the house niggers taking care of the field niggers, because and there was also the dynamic of African versus African American, because most of the correctional officers were of African descent, and then the prison body was mostly African Americans, with a little bit of Hispanic, Latinos and all that other kind of stuff. And basically, the lighter the complexion got, the higher the hierarchy of the person got, all the way up to you see, all the way when you get to the judges, then you see the Caucasian face. That's when you're finally out of the thing. So that tells me a lot there, that there's because you have to understand, the prison is a microcosm of what's happening in the larger society.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Just in the prison, there's no more fronts, and also you get to hear a lot of conversation and learn a lot of things about the inner workings of what goes on at the street level.
Yeah.
So again, it seems to be there's a pitting of the Africans versus the African Americans. That's a big part of what I saw happening there. Because the guards, because they're given a uniform and a little bit of authority, they treated the prisoners almost like animals. They forgot that they're dealing with fellow human beings, and they don't even take into account the fact that everybody's there for different reasons, and not everybody there is there for a heinous crime. Most of it is victimless crimes.
Yes.
Like I like to say. Because my crimes are definitely victimless. You can't really, or my so-called alleged crimes are victimless. You can't really point to any victim. It's just, policy and stuff like that. But again, it's nothing to take personal once you understand that America is a corporation.
Yes, it is.
And its managers are somewhere in inner London. You know what I mean? This is just a subsidiary of a larger global corporation, just to give people a little bit of education of what goes on. You know what I mean? So basically, what it is this place is like the people are pretty much debt slaves, because when governments take out loans, the promise to pay is the people. The collateral is the people, the work that the people are going to do. So the thing is, everybody has to be working to pay off that debt. So there's always a place for you. Either the military, either you're going to go to the workforce, or you're going to go to jail. Especially if you're Black, or you're going to feed the medical industry via insurance and, all the pharmaceutical stuff. So again, this is nothing conspiratorial. It's just something that I've learned coming through a lot of research.
Gotcha.
Now, you enjoy life better when you're, I guess, a house nigger, but you don't really have power. You're just attached to the power. When the hand comes down, it comes down on everybody. So my solution to all this is I decided that, okay, I'm going to educate myself on what I need to do to protect myself from this. And that is understanding the financial system. Since we are in a corporation, you have to understand the financial system so you can pay yourself. I hear a lot of people, or a lot of pro-Black people talking about reparations, but you have to understand that reparations are never coming. That doesn't make sense, because
why it doesn't make sense?
I'm talking about if you're looking at it as not as a country, but as a corporation. Why would they just give you, first of all, it's
I can tell you why. There's the examples of them paying the Japanese for what happened
yeah,
during
but they
World War
can't
II.
yeah, but they can't pay the black man because it's like can we count back through 400 years of free labor? How much would that be?
I don't know. There was an agreement. There was some kind of agreement at the beginning where ex-slave and their family should get 1 hectare in a mule. Let's just get back to that.
Right. Well, I'm
That
sorry to
because
say this. I'm sorry to say this, but to me, what I've come to learn is that asking for all that is just asking for uh for a handout from the white man. They're not gonna do it because again,
so
they run the financial system, and until that is solved, it doesn't really matter how much you ask for it, because when they ask for stuff, they just pay themselves, like I was telling you earlier. So the best way to address this thing is to master the financial system and start businesses. That way you can pay yourself by the laws that are in place, because this is not really, it has the face of a country because they want you to work off debt, because remember, we're in a debt-based system. You know what I mean? So it has to appear like it's a country, but it's really a corporation. So you're never going to pay that debt off. You're always going to be perpetually working, while they use the money and invest in their futures and their legacies. That is, if you just have the model of being a wage person. Now, if you move into a business class person, then you have a different category. Now you can talk about using business law and business ideas and business laws to also take advantage of some of the policies that are in place. You know what I mean? And that's why most people change from the model of trading time for money to going into business, because that's an actual model that builds wealth.
that is true. I mean, I don't want to get too much on the point of reparation because it's another topic on its own. But I think if some people get paid for the injustice that were done to them, like the Indians, the Native American Indians, I don't see why Black American that greatly contributed to what this country is, and actually, not to say, I don't even want to say they contributed almost entirely, but let's just say greatly contributed to what this country is, as far as their labor, as far as their creativity, and labor that was taken for free for hundreds of years. And you telling me that they can't give them something, or they can't pay something, while they paid the Native American, they paid the Japanese. It's like there's an expression. It's like it doesn't add up, right? So
Well, I think go ahead, please. I want to. Go ahead.
it doesn't, to me, it doesn't add up. So if you were able to do it for others, you should be able to do it for them, because you also wrong them, and some might argue you wrong them the most egregious way. So yeah, I think they have the right to reclaim it. Now, is it going to be done?
I think the Native Americans, they put them on reservations, and they all pretty much like suffer from alcohol and stuff like that.
Yes,
they didn't really give much.
No, that's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong. That's only one part of the story. Yes, they did put them on reservation, but secondly, they gave them their own territory, their own law, where the government can't really, how can I say? I think in Indian territory, in some part of the country, they have their own law basically, and there the casino business in Vegas is, from what I understand, is mostly how can I say this? It was given to the Indians, right? So if they were able to do that, right, for them, and actually they can never repay the Indian, because this was their territory actually. But the point is,
that's what I'm saying.
If they were able to do that, if they were able to make some kind of amends, right, for the Indians, which is not even a good example. Let's say I will always go back to the Japanese Americans. Why can they do that for the African Americans, Black Americans?
I think it's well, I know it's because Africans and African Americans are an actual threat to the system.
Yes, I wouldn't put Africans in that claim for reparation. I will only put African Americans. Only the African Americans have a right to that.
Yeah, well, like I said, the black people are an actual threat to the system.
That is true. That is correct.
You know, all these other races are just, I'm sorry to say, but you know, yeah, that's why, and it's so easy to do, but again, it's not coming. There's a reason it doesn't come. It's because that they own the financial systems and they're in rulership. Because they own the financial system, you know, the governments are at the mercy of like the financial bankers, of the international bankers. So the governments listen to them. It doesn't really matter. They can feed the people anything because the people are like cattle. They'll feed you anything for you to just, you know, sit still. But really, they're beholden. The Fed should not be a private, you know, institution.
Yes.
You feel me? So that tells you a lot right there. Again, the solution, I would ask for more so restoration of our identity. You know what I mean? At least tell us the truth about who we are and where we come from. But as far as the reparations thing goes, there's not going to be a solution without war.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that when Samson...
Without teeth and war.
Without what?
Teeth and war.
Tea and war?
Teeth.
Teeth and war.
War.
Okay. You know, ladies and gentlemen, that when Samson starts going to this type of direction, it's time to end the show.
End the show. Come on, man.
Okay.
How do you think people in rulership end up in rulership? Is there any kind of ever any rulership that happens without war?
Really not.
Right. So if you understand the fact that here is a question of people who are in rulership and people who are ruled. Understand? So there is no like political angle that's going to work. It's going to have to be financial.
Okay, got it. Now, I want to, because one of the reasons why we did this episode was we wanted to talk about your experience with the judicial system, the prison system, and actually
it segued into that because it's related. It's really related. Now, on an individual basis, I already admitted that I was negligent and I fell for the traps.
Yes. Now, I want to know,
black men.
I want to know, I mean, when you were released, what are some of the changes that you made in your personal and professional life when you got released? I mean, first, how was it being released? And what changes did you make when you got out? When you first got out, what is the first thing that you did?
You act like I did 20 years.
Oh, even 3 months. 3 months, even one day in jail is a day too much for me.
Right. So I mean, I elaborated on it. Like my mindset completely changed as to how I deal with this place. Before, I used to think I'm in the country, we the people, all that stuff. I got disillusioned from that. And now I understand we're in a corporation. So I decided I'm going to educate myself and align myself with the right type of people who have a certain type of mindset. You know what I mean? To move certain ideologies forward. So I stopped hanging out with people who are not going anywhere, and started, more so hanging out with people with ideas. So that's one thing. And also I decided I started reading up a lot on actual topics that matter, and also educating myself as far as my crafts go, and advancing my money making skills, and trying to again line up the ducks so I can get into some type of business.
Okay. Once you get out, did you find out that the stigma of having been incarcerated, quote unquote, has impacted your ability to make money as a businessman, or as even as an employee? Do you think that stigma is still, people still, like, when you have that in your record, do you think it still has an impact on how people perceive you in the corporate and the business world?
Probably in the corporate world, I would have to say as much, but
what about in the business world?
Again, I'm sorry to say this, but this whole financial system is criminal. You know what I mean? It's just about who gets caught. It's about who gets caught and who gets a record. So it's like, I find that, when I talk to people, they're able to relate to me on a personal basis. I guess it's probably different if they just look at my record. And again, my record is just traffic. There's nothing really there except maybe like, it's just traffic. So, I mean, how many people have that kind of thing going on with them? It's just a matter that maybe I didn't plan my life for, and I didn't have the right lawyers to go and represent me and scrub that stuff. But I know many people who have committed all these victimless crimes, so to say, but they just are able to navigate the judicial system because they're connected, right? It's not about it's always about who you know with this type of stuff. So I would advise people to lawyer up, right? Lawyer up, so that you don't have that record. But I wouldn't say that the record, if I had to give a percentage, I'll say it's 10%. Maybe it affects
10%?
how you're perceived, and that's if
that's
if you have like a drastic record.
Okay.
But I don't want to ascribe to that.
Okay.
To that idea that it should stop anybody from doing anything.
Yeah.
Now if you're deranged and you're low functioning, you do need to be taken off the streets for sure. But that's just another topic.
All right. So I think we kind of went through your experience. So I know your story personally, and I want to touch on different things. But one of the things I know that you change, if I'm talking with you, one of the things that I know that you change is the way, because for our age, there are not a lot of people our age that look like you physically. So I do know that one of the things that happened after you got out of that place is that you decided, or you were forced or whatever, but you decided to transform the way you live, the way you eat, the way you train. I think the question that I want on another episode, I want us to maybe talk about that, and what I think that was the genesis of one of your venture that you mentioned before.
Well, I've had not particularly. You're talking about Live Fit.
Yes.
Sports and wellness. That venture actually goes back sometime, but it was definitely like put into hyperdrive.
Yes.
From that moment, because what I realized is again, you cannot survive what I went through if you do not know who you are.
Yeah.
Okay. Because when certain life situations hit, and you did not build an internal internal
Fortitude.
yeah, so an internal fortitude, identity, call it, or maybe finding Christ or whatever it is that you want to call it. When something hits that fundamentally breaks your identity, you don't make it. Either you mentally go out or you give in to certain things. But what I do is I went in and went into that place, and I meditated and I thought about things and I planned. You know what I mean? I planned on exactly what's going to have to happen for me myself to evolve, and also for the greater community, for our people to evolve. You know what I mean? So that's where I realized, okay, so first of all, we have to have discipline, right? And that discipline begins with simple things like, what we consume.
Yes.
How we train our bodies.
Yep.
How much control we have over our bodies. Can we deny ourselves of certain things? For how long can you deny yourself of certain things? So these are one of the preliminary steps to spiritual, awakening or spiritual enlightenment. So that's why I ended up going in hyperdrive on that. Not only that, but I had to also understand that, like I said, the traps that are set for us are, the foods, the drugs, the alcohol, and so many of the demonic ideas that come through media. Understand what I mean? So it took me like being taken away from the phone for 90 days, from any form of TV or media for 90 days, to actually finally realize what's happening here. And it's that all these things are coming through that, you know what I mean? Through the drugs and the media. That's where all these ideas are coming. So I made a decision that, okay, I'm not going to be part of that scene so much anymore, because there was a phase in my life where I would have to say I was trapped in that life. You know what I mean? And a prime example is alcohol, right? Alcohol is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. It's almost a foregone conclusion that it's okay, but it's really not. You know what I mean? It's the number one cause of accidental and deliberate death. And nobody wants to talk about that. You know what I mean?
So I think
I decided that. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I decided that I would battle to inform myself on those things, and also others on those things, that you don't have to fundamentally shift your life, but you have to be aware of the environment we're in and the traps that are set for us as Black people, because we are pretty much in a position of being ruled. And that is why, you know what I mean? When you understand that, certain things start to make sense.
Okay.
It's not anything to take personal. It's just a thing where you have to now adjust yourself and learn how to, you know what I mean? That it's going to be up to us as Black men to raise ourselves, and then maybe be able to help our women and children, because as it is, they're just tentacles of the ruling class.
Got you. I think this was an interesting episode. I think the audience learned more about, the listeners learn more about you, and I think
they delved into you a little bit more too.
I mean, this experience was more, this cast was more about the prison and the judicial system, and and unfortunately or fortunately, I don't have enough experience there. But I did mention to the audience that I've been in handcuffs at least once in my life, and I know the fear that comes with knowing what happens next. That is not a pleasant situation, not at all. So, but I've always been very fortunate that it has never gone to the point where I was in a jail cell or worse, right? So that's
and a lot of people are like that. They don't have to be. It just means you had you had good guidance. You know what I mean? That's really all it's going to take. Good guidance.
Yes,
That's
good
it.
guidance, and the protection of the Almighty, or some people might call it luck, but yeah, good guidance. Yeah, good guidance for parents, and yes.
But we can't
Stuff
knock
like that.
people for having a hustle. You know what I mean? It's their hustle.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You know, you just
Yeah.
gotta learn to play the game.
Yeah. So next time when we come back on the pod, from this story, I think maybe, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but maybe we should talk about your health, you know, through the prism of Live Fit, you know, what it is, you know, the benefits, because I actually went through the different tenets of it. I actually went through it. I'm still working on it. Not completely done as far as transformation, but
that one is my hustle. It's our hustle. It's all of our hustle, because I want to expand it to everybody. You know what I mean? So it's like,
but keep don't tell the people yet. Otherwise, not gonna. Otherwise, not gonna come back. They're not gonna come back on this one. But basically, Live Fit was, you know, you said that he was born before jail, but he went into overdrive and materialized after you got out, right? So
yeah, because there's a need for it now more than ever, for me and for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Samson, any parting word of wisdom? What advice would you give to young Black men regarding, I mean, what can they take from that experience that you had?
I would have to say they're not locking up 7-year-olds. So please find good role models for males. And if you're in a position of being a role model as a male, just as yourself, try to teach these others that are our peoples, or the young ones. Or, you know, if you find that they don't have a good male energy in their life, at least try to step in and help them understand. Fill that void, because at the end of the day, the Black male is the solution to our problems, but he has to be in his right mind, and to be in his right mind, he has to be mentored by the right people. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to belabor the point. The system is trying to. There's a systemic process that's trying to make sure that doesn't happen, and so our goal should be to make sure that it does happen. Again, it goes towards the kids. You know what I mean? So find a mentor or mentor someone, but
got you,
because we're all in this together.
All right. Thank you, Samson. I'm Christian. You know, it was very nice talking with you, Samson, and interacting. Hopefully, the listeners, we hope that you had a great time listening to Samson's experience. Come back for when we're going to talk about health, which was the result of its experience behind bars. Well, that's not totally true, but you know what I'm saying. And you know, check the other episodes on morecast.net, moorcast.net. Samson, do you want to shout out any place where people can find your content or platforms?
Well, there's morecast.net, right? You already said morecast.
Morecast.net. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's pretty much where there's the most organized platform for my content thus far. But look out for the release of Live Fit coming soon. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then other greater things to come.
Yep, definitely. All right, people. We love you. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.